Creation Grounds listeners, what's going on? Long time no see? Creation Grounds listeners, episode 26 of the Creation Grounds, featuring a friend of mine, Jowin Batoon. She and I, we share the same manager. And I thought it'd be great to have her on this podcast because she has a bright future ahead of her. And she also has some great things that she's done and some great value, I think, that will help you guys in your careers. If this is your first episode of the Creation Grounds that you're ever listening to, I'm grateful and appreciative that you found us. And if you have been a long-time listener and you've listened to other episodes, I appreciate you for that. In this episode with Jowin Batoon, we talk about her booking on Iron Fist. We talk a little bit about martial arts. We talk about what we can expect from her character Torx this season, some of her dream collaborations, the success of Crazy Rich Asians, and what that means to her, and diversity in general and representation of diversity. We talk about her first booking, she's sitting across from Aziz Ansari, and what it was like being on set with him, and what are two things that actors can do today to move their career forward. A funny story in this, she talks about how she got into acting. I think that's a pretty funny story behind how she got into acting. Jowin is dope. She's fun. She's resilient. She's tough. And I learned a lot in this episode about her that I didn't know prior. So enjoy this episode featuring Jowin Batoon. Welcome to another episode of the Creation Grounds featuring Jowin Batoon. She's just recently featured on Iron Fist, and she has some other great things going on. She was just at Comic-Con yesterday. We're just talking about that a little bit off air. How you doing, Jowin?
I am fabulous.
Dope. So from my understanding, you were born and raised in New York. Tell me what it was like growing up in Queens.
Well, I was actually born in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
And I came here when I was 4 and a half to meet up with my parents because I was raised with my grandmother. The whole American dream type of situation. Growing up in Queens was so much fun. It's so diverse, and plus I grew up where. Have you watched Coming to America?
Of course.
I always say this.
Of course.
So where Eddie Murphy worked at the fast food chain, that's basically where I lived. That's where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and my school was there. My school was actually they panned it to my elementary school, which is pretty cool. But the school is not there anymore, so. Okay,
that's dope. Coming to America, so is that, how often have you seen that movie? Did that movie inspire you?
With acting, it just inspired me to hopefully get into comedy.
You want into comedy? I didn't know that.
Pardon?
You into comedy?
I'm into comedy. I mean, I'm not a comedic actress because I love drama, but I love watching comedy. I watch comedy all the time just because it brightens up your spirit whenever you have a rough day.
I understand. That's dope. What is one event? So you come from the Philippines. I actually didn't know that prior. That's pretty cool. Came here when you were 4. What is one event in your life that you would say is major in making you who you are, if there was one key moment?
I don't think there was really one key moment. I think it was just a culmination of events. I think when I was 18, when I was away for college, my parents separated. I had broken up with my boyfriend. So all those down moments made me so resilient in how I come about things and deal with situations. And since it was all at that jam-packed year of my life, I don't know, it just made me who I am, someone who's resilient and just strong and doesn't really, give to... Can I curse in podcasts?
Absolutely. You can say whatever's on your heart.
Don't get too sucks. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
As long as I'm alive, and it's all a lesson to me,
Yeah. There's a blessing and silver linings and everything. So do you remember much about the Philippines growing up, or is that out of your memory?
Honestly, I remember a lot.
Yeah?
I was a bad child.
Oh, yeah?
I was a spoiled bad child because I was the first grandchild, my grandmother's, and everyone spoiled me. I was very rude. I used to play pranks on everybody. Pretty sure I pulled a girl's earlobe out.
Wow.
I was 3. But I loved it. It's a very poor country, and I'm grateful that my family was pretty well off in the Philippines since, you know, it's much cheaper over there. Mm. But I enjoyed being with my cousins, being with my neighbors, and just having a great time. Like, I remember I used to just walk by myself at the age of 3 to the corner little deli and just, like, take the candy without paying. Or just going on these random adventures with my neighbors just around the neighborhood. But I actually remember leaving. It was actually really sad. I didn't know where I was going. I remember I was leaving to go to America. I just remember, yeah.
They just kind of put you on a plane, or no kind of like warning?
I don't know. I just remember saying, you know, in the movie when you look back at the car and just wave.
Oh yeah. It was like one of those moments.
I really remember that moment, and then I said goodbye to a family friend who was my age basically, and I remember going to the airport to Hong Kong. We made a stop over to Hong Kong, then to New York, and that was interesting. Yeah. Because I didn't know the language at all.
Oh, wow. So obviously. So that's another conversation, but just real quick, how long did it take you to like adapt to the language or learn the language?
About a year. My dad stayed with me while my mom worked and taught me English, and now I don't really know my language because they made sure I know English very well, and, you know, I became Americanized after.
Yeah. So what is one thing about Philippine culture that you wish more people knew about?
I wish people knew that we are very artistic and creative human beings. I know there's this whole thing about, Filipinos, they're great doctors, nurses, all that. But if you look into the Filipino culture more, there's so much color and liveliness. Like, they may have like a great job, but they'll have like interior design or dancing or singing as their hobbies. I don't know. Every single Filipino I meet, they have this creative mind, even though they're stuck in the intellectual mind. But like, once you get to talk to them, and they're just so lively, and maybe a lot of people know about that, but I don't know.
Yeah, do you know any people of note that come to mind for you, like great artists or designers?
I'd say my dad.
That's cool.
My dad's a doctor, but he has such a great eye for colors and design and like putting outfits together. I feel like he has such a great creative mind.
That's dope.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most proud accomplishment that you have to date?
Oh man, I don't really know. I'm that type of person, when you accomplish something, I don't really think of it as accomplishment. It's just the next level.
That's good. I respect that.
It's just like, I forget about it. Like, you know, I talked to a friend of mine, and they're like, "Oh, congratulations! I can't believe you did this." I'm like, "Yeah, next."
I feel you.
Right?
So if it wasn't career-wise, but maybe something in just your life that you're proud of, like even learning English or something, what would you say it was? If there is anything. There doesn't have to be.
I think I don't have like the biggest accomplishments. I think it's more of the little moments that I overcome a situation. So it could be something little. It could be like last weekend I got locked out of my car and
that
my
sounds
phone.
like a story right there.
My phone was in my car. My bag, my money was in my car. My car was running, FYI. And
Wow.
I just had an idea. Oh, let me just ask someone for their phone to go on an app for my friends to track me. So I think it's little things like that. To like, I think what I feel like is an accomplishment is going through daily life, overcoming even the smallest or the biggest, setback in life, and then live on from there.
That's real. Do you note things that you're grateful for in the morning and at night? Is that something that you do, or like your wins of that day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it could be about I'm grateful for my cat or my mom and dad. But yeah, I do have a list of 10 things usually.
That's dope. So you came from the Philippines. Your father's an artistic doctor. Tell me about the day that you decided that you wanted to act. Was there a specific moment, something that happened, or is it something that's always been innate?
I believe it's more innate because I grew up as an only child, and I used to, have plays by myself. I used to just talk to myself. I never had an imaginary friend, which is, I wish I did, but I think this one moment was in high school, and I had gotten detention, and I tried to get out of it by crying and just coming up with this whole elaborate story, and I got out of it, and that's when I realized, I'm like, I think I have the power to manipulate people.
Oh, wow. That's actually great. That's a great story. That's funny. How long were you crying before they let you out? Like, do you remember the story you told them?
Oh,
wait. This is a better question. What did you get detention for?
For eating pizza in the hallway and my skirt was short because I went to a private Catholic school, and I looked straight at the teacher, and she was like, throw that away and then unroll your skirt. I looked at her and I put the pizza in my mouth, and then I just smiled and I threw it.
That is funny. That's hilarious.
And then she screamed at me, and then I went to the dean. I started crying, and I was like, no one's allowed to scream at me aside from my parents and my grandparents. She has no right to scream at me. I am hurt. I feel so disrespected.
Oh my God.
I went, ow, just to get her attention.
And you've been booking things left and right since. That's amazing.
Well, I mean, it was a long time coming because I didn't go to college for acting or anything like that. It was a private thing for me. Basically no one really knew I was an actor until my first episode of anything came out. It was kind of like a secret / coming out thing.
So you study martial arts, and actually, I think Cali is originated in the Philippines, isn't it? Or am I off on that?
Yes. No, is that a niece? Actually, I don't really. Yes, Cali.
I think so.
See, I'm not too well knowledgeable on Cali.
What's the martial art you train?
So, I did Taekwondo.
Oh, Taekwondo. Okay, you be kicking around people.
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
I started when I was 10, and I stopped my training when I was probably 15, but I kept going. As in, I didn't go to Taekwondo school after that. I just did it at the gym because I love kicking.
Okay. That's dope. And that did that help you when you booked Iron Fist? Did your martial arts background help you with that? Do you think?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully it did.
That's dope.
I think so. I mean, it helped me during training because just learning the forms and making sure the technique was right. I mean, the stunt coordinators were amazing.
Weren't they?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. But it was challenging. It is still challenging, Taekwondo, because you have to have the right technique or else you'll get hurt.
Yeah.
Or you may hurt yourself or someone if they're in the way. But I love Taekwondo. Actually, I didn't really love it in the beginning. I was just good at it. My mom just made me. Like, I wanted to stay in ballet or learn how to swim. But she was like, no, you have to learn how to defend yourself. I hated it. But I think that hate turned into, like, me so passionate while I'm kicking because I'm just like, I hate this. Boom.
That's funny. So you put extra oomph and passion of hatred into it. That's dope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So tell me about the day that you booked Iron Fist. Do you remember that?
So I auditioned for it. I didn't get it. And then a couple weeks after, they were like, oh, we're thinking of her to be in another role. So they pinned me. And after that, I got a text from our manager, and I got the role.
Awesome.
And I was confused. I was like, because when I get good, even Annette would say, knows this. When I get good news, I'm very calm.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, it doesn't sit yet. I think it's just it marinates for a while.
Do you eventually get excited, or is it kind of?
I don't.
You don't. It's like kind of keep it moving on to the next one.
I get excited when I'm on set,
right.
When I'm actually doing the work, not when I receive the news.
Yeah.
When I receive the news, then I'm just like, okay, now I just dive in then. So I don't really have a chance. I get excited for when I'm telling my friends and my family, so they know that I'm not ungrateful.
Right.
I'm just the type of person who's just like, okay, cool, let's go.
I feel you. Meet the challenge.
Exactly.
What can we expect from your character Torx this season?
She is a badass and has to deal with a bunch of boys.
Okay, cool. And that's what you can share? That's your story? You sticking to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, I love this season. And I met so many great actors and crew. And, I don't really have a big part in this season, but I learned so much.
Just from being
behind
on
the
set.
scenes. Yeah, you learn a lot on set. I love being on set. I love observing everyone because everyone has their own process. Everyone has their own way of handling a character or getting into a character. And it's just, especially someone who's I haven't been on set a lot. It's so informative.
I think you're being unfair to yourself. You've been ripping it this year. I think you were in New Orleans. We'll get there. Go ahead. Finish your stuff.
Yeah, it's a learning process because, like I said, I never really went to acting school and stuff like that. So I don't really have a method or way of doing things. So everything is a big blank canvas for me usually, and I'm just like doing some trial and errors. But whenever I see these actors, I grab little things from them just to see if it could help with my work and my craft. So yeah, that's the best part of being on set, just learning.
So what you all
and obviously telling the story.
Telling the story and doing the job. That's dope. Do you have any dream collaborations? Anybody that you want to work with that you haven't with yet?
I would love to work with Michelle Williams and Viola Davis.
That's dope. Viola is both of them are queens. That's incredible.
Oh yes, they're both. Oh my gosh, they just have this presence that whenever you see them in camera, even when they both started out, it's like they still have this presence about them. And I can't really depict what it is because, as artists, you always transform. Mm-hmm. But they always have something that just draws me into their character, even if it's just one line.
Did you see Antoine Fisher?
No.
Oh,
no.
You gotta watch that one. Viola was in one scene, and it was just one of the most memorable scenes. Still.
Yeah, I remember I saw her in Eat, Pray, Love. I was like, what?
I haven't seen that one yet. I didn't know she's in that.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Do you have any celeb crushes? Any messages to them?
I don't have a message to them just in case I may work with them, because lately I've been auditioning when they're a main character. I mean, I don't.
Okay, got you. Okay.
But I'm obsessed because I've been putting this out on Twitter. Noah Centineo from from Boys I've Ever Loved Before, to All the Boys I've Ever Loved Before.
Okay.
Which is a great movie, and the Asian girl is the lead.
Awesome.
She's amazing.
Which leads us to Crazy Rich Asians, which had incredible box office success. What does that success mean for you?
Oh my gosh. First of all, that movie is fantastic. Fantastic. I cried, I laughed, I went by myself, which made it more personal.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited. It's just, as an Asian American, and seeing all these Asian actors having different types of roles and not just one like stereotypic role, it was just amazing to see. It was so inspiring, because sometimes, as an Asian American actor, it's like sometimes when you read a breakdown that's given to you for an audition, it's like, is this okay? Like,
mm-hmm.
I wonder if I could book this role, because usually, I'm not the girl next door. I'm not the, beautiful girl coming out from the door. Every guy looks at her, So when I saw this movie, it just took out all the insecurities of what I usually have within myself when I read for a role that's like, oh, I don't know if this is okay.
Yeah.
Like, will they see my type of person, like my skin color, the way I look, like, will they accept that?
Yeah.
And they do, because hello, Crazy Rich Asians. Hey.
It was number one for, I think, for a while it was number one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So earlier this year, I think it was either earlier this year or maybe late last year, that you booked Master of None with Aziz. Tell me about that day on set and everything you absorbed and learned from them, and what it was like being in that show.
So that was my first booking, and so it was crazy for me. I was shocked. One, I got on set, and the PA was a high school friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And we were good friends, which made it amazing, because first of all, the lingo, I'm like, what? I don't understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But then he helped me. And then I met Aziz, and he was doing 2 episodes back to back. And he's a very comedic guy. But then in real life, I think he's very focused.
Right. So
he didn't really say much, just, the cordial questions and stuff, but he was more focused on his characters and what he has to bring, because he was basically filming every scene the whole day. And as actors, you need to focus, especially if it's your show.
Yeah. What are 2 things that actors can do today to move their career forward, would you say?
I believe to stay knowledgeable of what's going on during each season.
And how would
as in
somebody
keep
do that?
Pardon?
How would they do that?
Just read Deadline, read Variety, and just be knowledgeable about all the casting directors and what's casting in New York City, and what trends are going on right now,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's super important because I went to fashion school, and I think it's kind of almost the same, because there's trends, and you see it, there's trends going on. Like right now, this season is about rebooting all these 90s shows and stuff like that. So I think actors need to be knowledgeable of what's in, so they could be well prepared of what are we going in for. And another thing what they could do to move, their career forward is just have fun.
That's real.
A lot of actors I know, and sometimes I could get into this, they get so stuck into the business and trying to move forward that sometimes you need to take a break and remember why you're doing this. Because once you go in the room or give a performance, if you're not looking like you're having fun or having, this is so passionate about, then what are you doing?
I agree. That's dope.
Yeah.
Where can people keep up with you? You got social media?
I do. I have Instagram and Twitter. It's Jowin Batoon.
Okay.
Simple.
Cool. And I always ask all my guests this. When you think of the word creative, who's the first artist to come to mind and why?
So yesterday I watched A Star is Born, so I would have to say Lady Gaga.
Okay, cool. How was that movie? I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my gosh, you need to see it. I am going to see it again today.
Okay. And why would you say Lady Gaga? What about her is so creative for you?
She's creative because she's her original person. I believe creativity is, being original as well as transforming yourself, accepting that transformation and not letting society bother you. So she just goes through all these transformations in her life, but she puts it in her work for the people, and she's just open about it, and she gives no fucks, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that to be so inspiring because in this world, in this society, it's you have to be this or that. And she's so inspiring and she's a risk taker with everything she does.
Yeah.
And I find that so inspiring. And she's such a great role model to everybody. And she's a New Yorker, and I've met people who've, met her, and there's nothing but great words that describes her usually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Jowin Batoon, thank you for being a guest on the Creation Grounds, and I wish you all success in future efforts.
Thank you too, and to everyone who's listening.
Absolutely. Yeah.